That's good. Hey Narwhals, so Valentine's Day is coming up, and a lot of people dislike Valentine's Day because it seems to like focus on romantic couples and stuff. And a lot of people who aren't in a romantic relationship dislike the holiday because it seems to kind of throw in their faces the fact that they aren't in a romantic relationship. Whether or not they even want to be in one, it can get kind of annoying. I've never really thought about Valentine's Day like that, mostly because I've been celebrating Valentine's Day my entire life, and for the majority of that life, I was not in a romantic relationship. It's always been about giving Valentines to your friends and like getting to eat chocolate, a lot of chocolate and stuff like that. And it's, you know, sure, when I was younger and not in a romantic relationship, I always kind of desired, I was like, oh, I wish I had a boyfriend to give me like a big, huge stuffed animal for Valentine's Day or whatever. But like, it never really got me down about the holiday. I never hated the holiday because I wasn't personally in a romantic relationship. The holiday has definitely become commercialized, but I mean, what holiday hasn't? And I don't think it's fair to hate on a holiday that's supposed to be about love just because Hallmark makes like a crap load of extra money off of it. Well, Narwhals, I'm here to tell you today that Valentine's Day isn't, you know, doesn't necessarily, hasn't always, it's not just about romantic love, okay? That's right. We're gonna go back to the beginning, to the history of Saint Valentine's Day. Did you know that's what it's called? It's Saint Valentine's Day. It's a feast day. It's a religious thing. The thing is, the story of Saint Valentine can get a little confusing. First of all, he was born like a bajillion years ago, which is roughly like 1800 years ago. And so it's kind of hard to like know much about him because that was really long time ago and people weren't like super, super awesome at keeping records back then. He wasn't first noted in the Catholic Church until like the 400s, like the late 400s AD. And so even then, like not much was really recorded about his life. So the stories I'm about to tell you probably maybe didn't even really happen, but it's okay because it's the message that counts. It's story time. It's story time. It's story time. So the first kind of issue with the story of Saint Valentine is that there are actually two Saint Valentines. They were both buried in the same place. It could be that the stories told about them, if true, are even kind of like combined stories. For the sake of, I don't really care that much, we're just gonna pretend like there's just one guy. Okay, so Saint Valentine was a Catholic. He was either Catholic priest or a bishop. And he lived in Rome during a time when Catholics weren't necessarily, you know, like allowed to do that stuff. He was either arrested for not worshiping pagan gods, or, as the cutesy, more interesting story goes, he was arrested for marrying couples during a wartime so that the man did not have to go to war, thus angering the people who, you know, had the power to do all the arresting. Unfortunately, doing things like marrying people during a time of war and being Catholic and not worshiping pagan gods, all those type of things will land you in jail with a sentence of, you know, like beheading and that kind of stuff. While living out his last days in jail before his impending execution, Saint Valentine happened to befriend the jailer's daughter, who happened to be blind. And as the story goes, right before he was to be executed, Saint Valentine cured the little girl of her blindness and left her with a note saying, "Love your Valentine." And then he was decapitated. Basically, the point I'm trying to get across is that the whole story about Saint Valentine is like mostly about him and that little girl Julia. And aside, all your creepy and whatever thoughts aside, it was about his friendship with this little girl and how like they loved each other in a friendship type of way. And so that's why I think that, you know, sure, if you want to hate on Valentine's Day, that's your prerogative, but, you know, you could also just use it as a day to express your love for your friends, especially if they're about to be beheaded, because that's really shitty, and you shouldn't be so selfish. Just, like, tell your friend how much they love them, because losing your head is kind of a life ender. Thank you, and Nathan will see you on Monday. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.